So I've redeemed over 430,000 Capital One miles over the last 2.5 years, all earned on my Venture X card. But Venture cards aren't the only way to earn these valuable miles. In fact, the Savor, Quicksilver, and Spark cards all earn you those miles as well, as long as you avoid a major mistake that can literally cut the value you get in half. So in this video, we'll go over how you can earn a ton of Capital One miles, as well as every single way you can redeem those miles, including ones that can get you double, triple, or more the value of those miles. So how do we earn a ton of miles? Well, first off, you have Capital One's lineup of travel cards or Venture cards, including the entry Venture 1 card, the mid-end Venture card, and the higher-end Venture X card, which I've had for the last 2.5 years. We won't go into the details of each in the video, but they all give you ways to earn a ton of Capital One miles, including its welcome bonuses, as well as day-to-day spending, especially with the Venture X card, giving you 2 times miles on all spend. That's one way, but Capital One's cash back cards can also earn you these miles as well. For example, with the Savor and Savor 1 cards, they're marketed as cash back cards, giving you a solid 3 to 4% multipliers across a wide variety of useful categories, but then afterwards allow you to convert those cash rewards over to miles at a 1 cent per mile rate. Meaning for every dollar of cash rewards you got, you could instead convert that to 100 Capital One miles. And that applies to the Quicksilver and Spark cards as well. Now, why would you do that? Why would you convert those cold hard cash rewards into miles? Well, it's because you can then pool these rewards along with the ones earned on your Venture cards and unlock 8 different ways you can redeem these miles for value. That said, it's important to know the details of every method because not all methods are created equal. Starting with the first method, let's head on over to the rewards page, scroll down, and then click on redeem for cash. There you'll get a pop-up for 2 choices, essentially a way to get statement credit on the card or get mailed a check. They don't give you an option to deposit straight into your account like Chase does, which is a bit weird. Now let's click on credit this card, click next, and you'll see that I can redeem my entire 28,428 miles balance to get a value of $142.14. An important thing to note is lower down it says that these won't contribute to your monthly minimum payments. You should be paying off your bill in full and on time anyways, but if you don't, this is important to consider. Now, if we then take the value we get, $142.14, divided by the miles needed, 28,428 miles, we get 0.5 cents per mile, or more commonly referred to as 0.5 CPP or cents per point. Pretty interchangeable terms, and not a great redemption at all. In fact, if you've been following closely, you might have realized why do we convert these cash rewards over to miles in order to redeem for even less value, where $1 converted to 100 miles will only get you 50 cents of value when redeemed this way. And you'd be right. That's a major mistake you want to avoid. Because yes, converting to miles means you have a lot more ways you can redeem for value, but it doesn't mean that each of these ways will give you better value. And so if you were to redeem for cashback, I would stick to Capital One's cashback cards and not redeem for miles. Just keep them as their cash rewards. But if you want more flexibility, including options later giving you more than 1 cent per point, let's continue with redemption number 2, and that's shopping with Amazon. Basically, once you link any eligible card to your Amazon account, at checkout you can redeem miles for your purchase instead at a rate of 125 miles to $1. Or 1-to-1 if you had cash rewards. And with that type of rate, you're only getting $1 of value per 125 miles, giving you just 0.8 cents per point. That's better than cashback, but still worse than just straight up cash rewards. That said, redeeming through Amazon could be worth it in rare cases where there are special offers giving you discounts for using this method. For example, there's been offers in the past where you can get $20 off 40 or $10 off 30. Say you were buying something for $40, get 20 off, so you're only paying $20. At 0.8 cents per point, you'll need 2,500 miles. However, because you got that discount, you're actually getting $40 of value divided by 2,500 miles, giving you a value of 1.6 cents per point. Much better than any other methods we've talked about so far. Unfortunately, these don't seem like common offers, so do take advantage if or when you're targeted. Okay, redemption number 3, and that's paying with PayPal. Once connected, you can use your points to pay any PayPal purchases during checkout, with a highlighted example on the main page, showing $50 of value for 6,250 miles. If you do the same calculation, dividing the two values, you get a value of 0.8 cents per point. Yes, with PayPal you can get protections like purchase protection, but it's still not that great of a rate. Next up, we have gift cards. From the rewards page, if you scroll down and click through, you'll land on this page here. Now, just like how all redemptions are not made the same, gift cards are like that as well. Because if you scroll to something like, say, Amazon, you'll see that for a $25 gift card, you'll need 3,125 miles. Doing the division gives you 0.8 cents per point, which makes sense because redeeming through Amazon and Amazon gift cards would be weird if the value were different. It's also a bit weird that these are all physical gift cards arriving in 2 to 3 weeks. I couldn't find anywhere that you could get digital gift cards. Now, if you check the top section of the page, there are a few companies that are offering sales, like Apple here, where a $25 gift card will only cost you 2,343 miles. Doing the math, you get 1.07 cents per point. Not too bad. Personally, I look for much more than that in value if I'm putting extra effort in on doing all these credit card things, but it does still give you slightly more value than just straight up cash rewards. Alright, next up we have redeeming for experiences, which here includes some MLB events to music, comedy, and other sports as well. And if we take a look at, say, Matt Rife, which I did not know had an upcoming show in Seattle, we can see that tickets go as low as $156 or redeeming 19,500 miles. If we do the same calculation, $156 divided by 19,500 miles, you're getting a value of just 0.8 cents per point. Again, under the 1 cent per point mark and not a redemption I would recommend. Now, we've covered most of the general redemptions you can do, but as with most of these types of programs, similar to Chase and American Express, the place you get the most value from your points and miles come from travel-related redemptions. And so the next 3 methods cover exactly that, giving you a minimum of 1 cent per point in value, but sometimes north of 2, 3, 5, or even more cents per point. So let's talk about it. The first of these is covering travel purchases. Also through the same rewards portal, clicking through gives you a pop-up where you can see your recent purchases that are coded as travel. For example, I paid some fees through the travel portal for $4.20, and clicking on that, I can redeem up to 420 miles to cover that travel related charge. $4.20, 420 miles gives us 1 cent per point. The other charge I have is actually for Klook Travel at $762.80 or 76,280 miles. Because I don't have enough miles, I've just used them, I can only cover part of this charge. But here's a tip or a warning. This really depends on what the company you're spending with is coded as. If you're booking flights, hotels, or like an Uber ride, you'll most likely be okay. What I've noticed is when I'm buying things on Klook, which is a site that you can buy all sorts of tickets like tours, cruises, activities, and park entrances. In fact, this almost $800 charge was me purchasing tickets for 4 to Universal Studios Japan, including their Fast Pass. So we don't need to spend like half the day waiting in lines, which means I'm technically redeeming my points at 1 cent per point on these park entrances. If this works out for you, great. But if an actual travel company does not code as travel, then well, you're kind of out of luck. So that's covering travel purchases you've already done. What about booking new travel? Well, for that we have the second travel redemption, and that's redeeming through Capital One's own travel portal. Now, a quick word about travel portals. I've used the Chase portal and the American Express portal, and I gotta say the Capital One portal has the nicest UI, is extremely smooth and really nice to use, as well as giving me prices that have been closest to Google or other third-party sites. It also comes with all sorts of protections like price drop protection, flight price predictions, and even price matching. So let's say we want to fly from San Francisco to New York this summer. We can punch that search in and get shown results here. Notice a few things. First, their price prediction is telling us that we may want to wait for prices to drop, including a forecast on when they think it will drop. Second, there's an option to pay to freeze these prices for 7 days. in this case for $44 or 4,400 miles, again 1 cent per point. And then third, in my opinion, a really nice UI that shows you all the info you need, with all the flights and various class options, reminding you that you'll get 5 times points if you have the Venture X card when booking these flights. Alright, so here we see the lowest prices at $381, with the second lowest being $406. If we do the exact same route search and exact same dates on Google, we see the same JetBlue flight for about $407, but we don't see the American Airlines flight for $381. So at least in this search, we're actually getting a better deal through the Capital One travel portal, whether we decide to use our points or not, which would of course still be 1 cent per point. That said, again, if you have a card like the Venture X card, remember you'll get 5 times miles for these purchases, which can be thought of as 5% back in value when thought of that way, but also allows you to trigger that $300 annual travel credit you get for booking through their portal. That's exactly what I did on an upcoming trip where I needed a flight from Korea to Japan for 2 people, booking on Asiana Airlines for about $260. And on that trip, I relied heavily on this third way of redeeming miles for value, and that's through Capital One transfer partners, which you can find through the Convert Rewards option on the rewards page, landing us here showing all 17 available programs we can transfer to. Now, it would take way too long to go through each and every program, especially when each of these programs themselves gives you access to a whole bunch of other airlines through their alliances as well. For example, it might just say Air Canada, Aeroplan, but once you transfer your miles over, you get access to the rest of Star Alliance Airlines, which has been my main way of redeeming points, flying on airlines like ANA, EVA, and Singapore Airlines. Like how I found 3 business class tickets from Tokyo back to Vancouver for just 55,000 points each, along with 107 Canadian or $78 USD. For comparison, let's take a look around the same time this year for the same business class flight, which Google says will cost $5,901. And so if you calculate the value we get, $5,901 minus $78 in fees divided by the 55,000 points required, we get a whopping 10.6 cents per point, right? Wrong. You see, the mistake here is that people use the one-way flight to calculate these values, when that's not reliable because a lot of airlines jack up their prices for these one-way flights. Because if we swap to round trip here, we see that the same round trip flight will only cost you $4,900. And so in reality, we should be comparing to half of the round trip costs, in this case about $2,450 minus the fees, dividing by the same 55,000 points, giving us a truer value of 4.3 cents per point. Don't get me wrong, still way higher than any other method we've talked about today, way higher than 1 cent per point, and still higher than the average I consider for these points values at 2 cents per point. Now, what about a more local example? What if you just want to fly within the US? Well, then you could consider transferring to British Airways Avios, unlocking One World access, which Alaska and American Airlines are part of. For example, flying from Chicago to Dallas will only cost you 11,000 points and $5 in fees, or in business class costing you 20,500 points and the same amount in fees. We're comparing to Google, which will cost you $155 in economy, giving you a value of 1.36 cents per point, or $340 in business class, giving you a value of 1.63 cents per point. Or maybe you want to fly the other direction to Europe, well then you want to consider transferring to Flying Blue, where there are regularly deals where you can get up to 25% off on points needed on these routes, like flying between Europe and LA, costing just 15,000 miles and $64 in fees with pretty decent availability. Again, for comparison, the same flight on Google will cost you $437, so if you subtract the fees divided by the same 15,000 miles, we get a value of 2.5 cents per point. Not too bad for economy. And redemptions are not just about flights either. When looking at Virgin, which will give you access to SkyTeam members, just like Flying Blue would, you could also use these points on cruises, like this one here costing you 120,000 points for a cruise around the Mediterranean. On top of that, Capital One regularly has transfer bonuses giving you more points when you move your Capital One miles to one of these partners. For example, there's been a 30% bonus when you transfer to Virgin, meaning that cruise at 120,000 points would have only been 92,300 points. or the 20% bonus over to Flying Blue, meaning instead of 15,000 miles, you'll only need 12,500 miles, bumping the cents per point from 2.5 to 3. That's all to say that there are endless ways to get more than 1 or 2 cents per point in value for your Capital One miles, whether it's traveling domestic, international, or even on cruises. And that's why it's so powerful when you can convert your cash rewards from your cashback cards over to miles to redeem for travel in these ways. Because you can get your 3% back at restaurants with your Savor One card, convert that to 3 times miles, redeem that for 2 cents per point or mile in value, which would be like getting 6% back on your original restaurant spend. And so if you love these credit card rewards, be sure to watch this video for how to earn the most Capital One miles and how it compares to some of the best cards on the market. See you over there.